Hello everyone, welcome back to He Made Me Watch. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today I made Eric watch a movie that I kind of grew up with called Phenomenon, starring John Travolta. I say I grew up with, this came out when I was like 12. And it's about a guy who looks up in the sky and sees a light and then suddenly has superpowers and is able to remember everything he reads, and it's kind of a Flowers for Algernon sort of story with a very different ending. But it was a movie that I picked just because it was a thing I liked a lot when it came out, and for whatever reason I watched it a lot. It always stuck with me, and I was surprised you hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
So that's really the only reason I picked it. I just thought I would show it to you. Not exactly a science fiction movie. That's a conceit.
It goes to some places.
Yeah.
That you like more than I do.
Well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. So this is a movie that I was kind of worried that, like, a long time ago now, and I can't believe how long we've been doing this show, when I showed you Field of Dreams, I thought you might think that it was a little bit sappier than I did. I also didn't know if this would hold up because I haven't seen this in a lot of years, and was happy that I still liked it as well as I did. But how did you feel about it? Was it too sappy, or did it kind of work? Or?
Well, this is a very different experience than Field of Dreams. Where Field of Dreams might be sappy, I'm not sure. It hit me in a place. It was just very.
So you just didn't care.
Yeah. It's that all-American guy thing, right?
It's
like
the
baseball.
father-son thing.
Yeah.
I think you and I both latch onto that.
Yeah. This was a movie that was surprisingly really well written, or at least. No, I'll say it was well written. There's a couple of places. It's sappy, but there's only one section of the film, the B plot is sappy, but the rest of the movie isn't. It's way smarter than I expected.
So you think the love story is sappy, but the actual A story isn't too bad?
Yeah, the actual A story I think is handled very maturely, shockingly for when it came out.
Yeah.
I would expect this to be the most schmaltzy thing. And it's
the
not.
soundtrack is kind of schmaltzy.
It is.
I feel like, and not just the incidental music, the score also. I feel like it thinks it's a sappier movie than it is. It thinks it's a cheese fest.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The big thing that I told you after you watched it was, so the whole idea is that this guy kind of all of a sudden gets really smart. And it's not all of a sudden he reads, which leads into one of my favorite, maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, he doesn't find out he's smart right away. It takes some time.
He just can't fall asleep and starts reading, which is the biggest plot hole in that movie. Is he doesn't sleep.
Yeah, right.
Which is not explained by tumor in your brain, and he only looks worn out.
It's not explained why he's able to go as long as he can looking rested. If he was bloodshot the whole movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that's okay. If it's just, for some reason, ever since this hit me, I haven't been able to go to sleep, and I have so much energy that I'm able to function, but I don't feel good. At some point, there's kind of a light switch where he doesn't feel good, and I don't know what causes that.
It seems like it's thematically tied. It's when he's at his down moment, now I'm stressed.
That's
it almost was stress-based, not sleep-based. All of a sudden I'm stressed, and now I don't look good. But no, so the thing that really impressed me immediately, especially for a '90s movie, especially a '90s movie that is set in this location and with this soundtrack and everything about this, is it's not dumb smart. It's not I can do Rubik's cubes now. It's not. Is none of the
he actually has to take information in before he knows it,
and it's none of the shortcut to the audience. Look, he's a smart person now. I believe all of it.
I know I go to this a lot, and some people will be annoyed when I say this, but it's not a you're not yourself Smallville episode.
Yeah.
And he still is very much the same guy. He just has all this knowledge now.
And that's something I like too. John Travolta's fantastic in this.
He's brilliant. And I think that's probably the thing that made it stick with me so much.
It's just that he's really good.
That is the most realistic telekinesis I had seen.
Sure, that makes sense.
It was kind of fun that it was a superpower movie that's not making a big deal out of as much of a big deal out of the superpower.
No, it feels like a science fiction film. And not in the grand scale epic science fiction film.
Or it feels like a mainstream drama with one science fiction element.
Yeah, it's.
I like things like that a lot. Field of Dreams is like that too.
It's literary, in its way.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
No, I really like I like the small town dynamic. My favorite thing that I'm just gonna keep saying what I said to you.
Yeah, sure.
After you watch the movie.
We practice our videos.
One of my favorite things was that he is not a slow or dumb guy when the movie starts. I feel
He's
like
not Lenny.
yes, I feel like the ease, or even not even like fully Lenny, but like, he's just not a dumb guy. He's just a regular guy, like a real regular guy. He's not even just like dumb Worka Joe. Like this feels like a guy that does want to know things. And he kind of even
He's
says
not
that.
anti-reading. He probably reads.
Yeah, he's yeah. This just seems like a really normal person.
But he's a real simple guy, and he lives in this simple town.
Yeah.
But like he has mechanical skills.
He's not like
cars.
hickish, I guess. Is
Right.
what.
No, not at all.
And so it also felt like a very generous portrayal of a small town. At this point in time,
Was it too generous?
I don't live in a small town. I've never lived in a small. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, at the exact same time, we're doing things like Independence Day.
A little idealized.
Yeah, maybe so. But I really like the
And weird that there seems to be one black man living there. Like
Yeah.
the town had a token black man.
Yeah.
In Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. That was a little weird.
That seemed a little weird. He's also great though.
Yeah, where are his parents? Who are his people? Where does he come from? But
Well, there might be more black people in that town.
we just
didn't
don't
see
see them. They're not important to the story. Maybe they're not in crowd shots. We have a fair.
Or is this going to be another Roger Rabbit thing where somebody's like, Cap, there's this whole group of black people, you completely missed them in this movie.
Did that happen to Roger Rabbit?
You don't know about this?
No.
I bring it up all the time. Okay, can I say this? Can I mention this real quick
Sure.
if you don't know about this?
I don't know about this.
And I apologize to everybody because we just did a Roger Rabbit commentary and I didn't bring it up.
I haven't listened to it.
And I felt so
wasn't
dumb
there.
because we're watching the Roger Rabbit commentary and I'm like, oh, he's in even more shots than I realized he was. So when I did years ago this has nothing to do with this movie. Years ago, I did a Rewind United on Roger Rabbit. Somebody requested it, and I made this whole case that Toontown was a metaphor for racial prejudice, and that the Toons were a replacement for black people, and that's why there's no black people in the movie.
I mean,
and there's
Toontown is obviously a racial prejudice metaphor.
but I thought they were intentionally not putting black people in the movie because they wanted it to be a racial prejudice thing, and they didn't want to complicate it by in that point in time also having African Americans there. And there is one guy, and I didn't notice him, and I said that in the rewind, and a bunch of comments were like, Cap, there is a black man in this movie. And everybody was really nice about it, but they were just like, they're like, it's a good point, nice try. Anyways.
So I really like
Sorry,
that.
I didn't mean to get stuck on that whole thing.
I feel like a lesser film. Here's how I would explain this movie. This is a not great movie made wonderfully. This is on
But you
paper.
said the writing's pretty good.
It is, but I'm not talking about the script. I'm talking about the movie. This on paper is a movie that's just okay, right? Like everything. If I explain this movie to you, it sounds like a movie where you're like,
It's that pretty cut and dry payment numbers.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels that way, but it's not executed
And that's why I was
that way.
afraid I wouldn't be able to go back to it.
No, except for the romance stuff. It's so far above its station as far as, like, these kinds of movies in the 90s. It's really surprising.
Well, and that's why I didn't tell you the premise. Because I was afraid if I told you the premise, you'd be like, yeah, so what about that? Like, why am I watching this movie?
Yeah, no, it feels like a movie that I would never be able to convince someone to watch.
And doesn't it feel like a thing that since then you've probably seen a bazillion times, but when you're watching it, you can't think of one?
I mean, I'm sure there's X-Files episodes, I'm sure there's a Smallville episode. I can't
Sure.
think of another movie.
Yeah.
I can think of...
It actually does feel like a like a one-off TV episode premise, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It feels a lot like this feels like an X-Files episode without a conspiracy. And a happy ending.
Yeah.
I
mean, kind of a happy ending. Like, he dies.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But,
No,
I mean,
this still could be an X-Files
it's
episode.
it's positive.
Yeah.
Because it's about the impact he left on those people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not about what he leaves behind for mankind as it is about the individual people he touches. That's kind of the point of the film.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot, which is the reason that he won't give his brain to science. And we had a conversation about whether or not we thought he should leave his brain to science. I kind of like that he doesn't, the more I think about it, but...
I mean, based on my one viewing, I think he should have. it felt a little selfish that he didn't. No, for some reason...
But my whole thing was, I wouldn't give it to that guy.
No, that guy was up to something. Because he's secretly a Nazi scientist or something.
Yeah, it actually is an X-Files episode, and they just dodged the X-Files.
Yeah, they dodged it. And he was, remember? Because remember, I was like, look, there's the cigarette smoking man.
They tried to quarantine him.
And he's
that's
literally
true.
smoking.
Yeah, it's a much less memorable cigarette smoking man.
Isn't he Brett Spiner?
No, that wasn't the smoking man.
It's Brett Spiner's not the smoking man? Okay.
No, remember? Brett Spiner's in
yes,
probably the best scene in the movie.
Yes, because he's not smoking in... You're right, yeah.
Oh, you thought it was like the same guy like twice? No, he's just the guy they send to give him the test.
Yeah, he's great in that scene.
Yep. He's in that one scene.
Something about this.
What is it he says at the end of that that's really funny? Where he's like, I'm trying to remember. He says John Travolta says that he has a relationship with the pencil, and he's like, it's made of the same stuff that everything's made of. And then Brent Spiner, because he's seen the impossible with him spinning his pencil and then lifting it up, and he's like, or just I guess just moving it back and forth, and he goes, wood? It's like, no, energy. But yeah.
I don't know why. This movie reminds me a lot of Searching for Bobby Fischer.
I've never seen that.
It is one of my favorite films.
Really?
I adore.
You should put that on your list.
I should. The next thing I am going to make you watch is the most wholesome thing I've ever made you watch.
Well, that's a good thing back to back with this, because it's a pretty wholesome movie.
Yeah. And you will either hate or will connect with you like entirely.
Interesting.
It'll either just be like, I don't know. The sensibilities could be slightly off, but I
Do you feel like the longer we've been doing this and the longer we've lived together, because Eric, I don't know if people know this, Eric and I have lived together now for 2 years, which is crazy.
Coming up on 2 years. We're a couple months shy.
Okay, yes, but very nearly.
Yes.
And would you well, I was going to say, would you agree? I don't know if I'm right about this, or if this is a true statement. Are you better at that now than you used to be, do you think?
Oh, probably.
Where like you can get a better sense of what my sensibilities line up with?
I have a better sense of your sense of comedy, which is the big one.
Because I feel like I already had pegged pretty well. But then, there are things that I still... Maybe I'm not good at it. With wholesome things, I always worry that you'll, like, turn your nose up at things, and you never do. Like, I don't know why I think it's because you like things that are, like, rougher and more cynical than I do, and so I still have this association where I'm like, well, he's gonna think this is lame. Mm-hmm. But, like, you have different brains, like, you're...
Yeah, I like different things. You're
you're able to enjoy things for what they're for, as opposed to
no.
The thing
I really
this was one of those, and I was afraid you wouldn't like Field of Dreams, and you had the same reaction with Field of Dreams I did. I mean, like, I was really excited about that. So no, I suck at this apparently.
No. The thing I'm going to show you, I think will resonate with you incredibly strongly. If the comedy doesn't pull you out, and I don't think it will, but you are picky about comedy,
I'm pretty picky
so that can go either way. So it'll be interesting. But this movie...
Anything else you want to say about Phenomenon? Yeah.
I don't think anyone has to see this.
I know.
But if you do, it's way better than you think it is.
Yeah. It's not a must-see movie.
No. But if it's on TV, and you're flipping through channels, you got nothing else to do, why not? No, it's...
Is it really sad at the end, or is it kind of, at that point, predictable?
The ending goes too far with the schmaltz.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
did you call it? Like, did you know it was a tumor? And when you found out it was a tumor, you were like, oh yes, of course it's a tumor.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
No, I assumed it was going to be one of those things where, like, we would never get an answer, or, like, we would definitively say it's aliens, but, like, that would be it. Like, we would just never deal with the thing that actually gave it. It's just a conceit to give him this thing. That was what I thought.
What I like about it being a tumor, and it could be kind of any conceit, but what I like about it not necessarily being a more supernatural kind of thing, because, I mean, there's theories, it could have been aliens that gave him a tumor. I mean, there's, different things that could happen, but if we want to take it at face value, and it's just the lights he saw in the sky were because of the tumor. He wasn't actually seeing anything that was really there.
Well, they say that, which is actually inconsistent. Because, so it happens there.
Yeah.
And then later it happens once more. And, like, that explains lights. And I'm like, does it explain the lights happening twice? Wouldn't that be a more frequent phenomenon? That you would just see lights occasionally? That was weird.
Well, it only happened, the first time when he got the tumor, and then it happened later when he was knocked out and they figured out that he had a tumor. But I don't know why he gets knocked out in that moment. Because he just gets overwhelmed.
Yeah. That seemed like a thing that would happen more frequently.
That seemed like it seemed like just kind of a writing thing where it's like, and this is where we need this to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of a problem. But what I like about it being a tumor is it's completely natural, and that goes to the idea that he brings up that everyone has the potential, but that everybody might have the potential
to be him.
to do what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite scene. This is pairing because I mentioned this. I want to mention this before we finish.
Yeah, sure.
This is going against, or this is how we're different people. My favorite scene that represents the awfulness of humanity is the scene at the bar with the doctor.
Yeah.
Where there's this guy who's sitting there just saying like, it didn't really make him smarter. He just read more. And I love that. I love how dumb that is. I love that because you can't deal with it. Like you don't. He can't be better than me. He can't have gotten smarter. He just read stuff. And I love the simplicity of like that argument and how dumb that argument is. Something about that really resonates.
And what's
with me.
really cool about that is he's actually making John Travolta's argument for him, but doesn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually sort of thinking the opposite of what he's saying, because he doesn't think that he has the potential
I could do that too.
To do that, but he's saying that he does. It's like, well, okay, if you could do that too, then why don't you do that?
Yes.
Well, he's not going to.
No. I love that scene. Also, I forget who plays the doctor. He's great.
Yeah, and I've seen him in stuff.
Yeah,
I forget.
Yeah. I feel like he's a working actor.
Yeah.
He's great.
Real quick, a criticism of this I've always had that I want to bring up, that I mentioned to you the other day, is it is weird that he's able to learn how to speak Portuguese with just reading a book. So in 20 minutes, he's able to not only memorize a lot of the Portuguese language, but also pronounce it perfectly without an accent. And that's the one place where it seems too easy, where like just because he has a smart brain, he's able to do something that you couldn't do if you didn't have the knowledge given to you. Just because you're really, just because you're able to understand more easily, doesn't mean that you'd be able to pronounce something without hearing it spoken. You wouldn't know the correct way to pronounce it. Well as he does. Even if you have the written phonetics spelled out, there's no, just confidence doesn't give you accuracy.
Yeah. There's also, I don't like there's telekinesis in this movie. I think that goes too far. I think it's a really simple premise that feels more supernatural it's making an assumption like that. I think that's what bothers me. What bothers about me is everything else is plausible in this movie. The idea that if we used our brain more, we can move things is not a proven scientific. It's just too far.
No, it's not. But it's also not disproven. So it's not a thing that you can't do within the realm of science fiction.
Sure, but it's not science fiction by the end of it. Except for that, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That it feels too far for me.
Well, I don't know. He's able to tell seismic activity by feel.
Yeah, but there's an explanation for that. Like it's the nauseousness and the. Yeah.
Sure.
That doesn't feel so. I don't know.
No. I mean, I see what you're saying, because it's like just because like a thing has energy and you have energy. Yeah, but what about that? How exactly is it happening? What exactly are you doing?
Yeah, that goes past like understanding and like to the level of like cosmic awareness.
It's Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
No, I see why you're saying that. I don't think it would have stuck with me like it did without it.
That's
which is
fair.
part of the reason I have a hard time imagining the movie without that. But I almost wish I could somehow go back in time and see it without that and see if it still hit me at all.
And that being said, all the special effects were that great.
Because they're really understated.
Yeah.
It's really minimal.
But it's all practical. We would do that all with CGI now.
Yeah. And it would not look as good.
No. So yeah, I'm feeling it. I will probably never go back to this film.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's a lot better than I expected it to be.
I don't know if I will either after this.
Especially,
I mean, I hadn't seen it in years.
Like, and even while watching it, I'm like, this is way better than because I didn't have the expectation. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about this movie except for that the cover is him going like this.
Yeah.
I've seen that cover.
I looked over like it was over there. It just pointed.
I saw it, I'm like, I hope no one thinks I'm pointing at it. I'm just doing, this is the cover. So I had no expectations, but like, while watching it, I'm forming expectations. I'm like, okay, it's the 90s, like, I know what this kind of movie is, and it defied those expectations while I was watching it. It's really impressive.
Well, folks, thanks for watching. That's how we felt about it this time. I'm excited to find out what wholesome thing Eric is bringing to the table next time. And if you are watching this in the playlist, let the playlist continue rolling, and you will see the next episode of License to Review. And Eric is going to review You Only Live Twice, right? You
Yep.
Only Live Twice.
You Only Live
So look forward to that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
See you, folks.